Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing my February 2026 dividend income update. But this month, I'm doing it slightly differently because last month someone commented that instead of just showing how much I received, I should also show the yield efficiency relative to capital. And I agree. So today we are looking at total income, run rate yield, portfolio weightage, income concentration, and full dividend breakdown. Let's get into it. Before we begin, very important clarification. I am a Singapore-based investor. All the dividend numbers you see here are net after 30% US withholding tax. So if you are a US investor, your gross numbers would look higher than mine. Just keep that in mind when comparing yields. Also, I took the snapshot of the portfolio on 28 February, so the value today when you watch the video will be different. And as always, this is not financial advice. Everything I say here is for entertainment and educational purposes. Please do your own research and invest based on your risk tolerance. Alright, let's start with the February snapshot. The numbers that are showed here are all from my Snowball Analytics. I do share my portfolio publicly, so please click the link in the description if you want to check out the whole portfolio. So for February 2026, the net dividend income received is $1,946.83. If I gross that up before tax, it will be about $2,781. My portfolio value is approximately $159,659. So if I divide February income by portfolio value, that gives me about 1.22% for the month. If I annualize that, that's roughly 14.6% net run rate yield. And because I'm using about $15,000 in margin, my yield on equity is closer to 16.2% annualized. So that directly answers the question of capital efficiency. Now let's look at how the portfolio is structured. My largest position is S-Gulf, which makes up about 31.5% of my portfolio. So almost 1/3 of the capital is parked in something relatively stable. My next few larger holdings are QQQI at 8.6%, QDTE at 7.5%, ALTI at 6.6%, BTCI at 5.4%, CHIPI at 4.3%, and YMAC at 3.7%. So while I own many high yield names, I'm not all in just one ticker. There's a structure behind it. Now I'm going to show you the full dividend breakdown for February. I'll slowly scroll down for you to view them. On the first column shows the tickers. The second column shows the February total incomes of the ticker. And the last column shows the percentage of the total income. I won't read every line because that will be painful. But everything is there for transparency. I will be discussing some of the main contributors and my thoughts on them. Alright, so here's the breakdown. I'll scroll down slowly so that you can have a look at them. Alright, let's talk about the big drivers. Let's focus on what actually moves the needle. First, ALTI. ALTI makes up about 6.6% of my portfolio, but it generated 19.6% of my February income. So that's a small weight, big income impact situation. That's efficient from an income perspective, but it also means income concentration risk. Now, QDT contributed about 9.2% of total income. CHIPI contributed about 8.3%. So just these three, ALTI, QDTE, and CHIPI, generated more than 37% of the total February income. So even though I hold many tickers, the income is still concentrated in a handful of high yield funds. Now look at S-Gulf. It is 31.5% of my portfolio, but only 6.2% of my income. That is intentional. S-Gulf is not there to maximize yield. It is there to stabilize the portfolio. So the structure is high yield engines supported by a large stabilizing anchor. As many of you know, I'm still working full-time as a civil servant. My income from work is stable, But my long-term goal is to make my salary secondary. February's $1,946 net income is meaningful progress. But I'm not just looking at the dollar amount anymore. I'm looking at the yield relative to capital, the income concentration, and the sustainability. Because one good month doesn't mean a sustainable system. So that's my February 2026 update. Total net income, $1,946.83. Net annualized run rate yield is about 14.6%. And clear concentration from a few high-yield funds. Now, I want to ask you something simple. Do you focus more on total income or yield efficiency relative to capital? Let me know in the comments. I genuinely read them, and some of the best improvements to this series have came from you. If you find this breakdown useful, like this video and please subscribe to the channel to help it to grow. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.